Hi, everybody. Welcome to MJ Comix. I'm your host, James Mack, and tonight I'm extremely proud to announce that my guest this evening, stroke this afternoon, is David from Comic Book Investments. David, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
How's it going? Thanks for having me. By the way, that intro, very cool.
Mate, I enjoyed putting that one together because
Yeah, it was
all the
very.
footage.
I was like, oh, this is fun. It's like a little highlight reel, and you put in my music stuff in there, and then all that stuff is very cool. That was
No,
like probably, I would say, the best intro I have ever gotten by far.
No, thank you. I appreciate you. I 100%. I appreciate you coming on. I've been wanting to get you on for a while now. I know. I messaged you sometime last year, and you said
Mhm.
get in touch towards the end of the year, and then we've got there's time zone differences between us. Obviously, I'm
Yeah.
based in the UK, and you're obviously in Los Angeles. But yeah, no, a massive thank you so much for coming on this evening. I feel a bit sorry for my UK audience because obviously it's 11 p.m. here, so they will hopefully have to catch on the rewind maybe. But I appreciate anybody who's watching this evening.
Yeah.
But how
Well,
are you? You okay?
yeah, I'm good. Just pretty much finishing work. So yeah, it's kind of at the end of my work day. So
What time do you normally your work day finish? Are you a 9 till 5 or what are you?
yeah, similar around that, just kind of when I come into the office. So yeah. How big is my water bottle? It's 96 ounces, which I don't
Oh,
know what
nice.
that is in UK, but
I don't have a clue either, so don't worry about that.
yeah.
But yeah, no. So for anybody watching, obviously, David, you have a YouTube channel called Comic Book Investments. You
Mhm.
also have a business. You own a business with your brother, is it?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it's called Collectors Comics. It's a fantastic auction website for comic books. But yeah, so that been going since what 2015?
So technically we started in 2009
Okay,
and we were just selling on eBay. And then I think we started the website around then, 2015.
okay, cool.
And the website in the beginning, we're doing things in phases. At first, we were just selling our own stuff. Then eventually, we got it so anyone can sell on there, like the marketplace.
Yeah,
Then we started running auctions, and now we have weekly auctions. And then we're bringing new sellers on to run their own auctions as well. So,
that's cool. That's cool.
yeah.
Congratulations as well because you have reached 20,000 subscribers.
Yeah, and the funny thing is I haven't posted a video in, like, 2 weeks, and I
Oh
was still
man.
yeah, because I got sick, uh, like, 2 weeks ago, and I was just like, ugh, I was just really, really sick, and, then, the next week was the auction. We have a featured
Yeah.
auction every quarter, and so whenever that happens, I'm just, like, so busy with that I and then by the time I'm done with my day, it's like the last thing I wanna do is, like, try to come up with a video. So I usually most of the time during that week, I never do anything anyway, so it just so happens that 2 weeks in a row, like, I didn't have
No.
time to make any videos. Although I did put a couple videos on my music
Oh, fair
channel,
play.
so I was still working on YouTube stuff. So, I do these rise and falls of
Yeah.
different bands that I like, and so I did some 41, and then I also do this versus thing where I see who's the bigger band, and I love numbers, so I break down all different numbers and metrics. So I did one on Nirvana versus
Yeah.
Foo Fighters.
Like Green Day
So
versus
I'm
Blink
still doing stuff.
182 and stuff like that. Yeah.
Mm, yeah, Blink-182 versus Green Day. So I still do stuff, but maybe it's not on this
Yeah,
main channel.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if people know that you have a obviously you're in a band called Love Angeles, um,
Mhm.
and you have obviously you've just mentioned here you've got a YouTube channel for that as well. So you're running two channels, you're running a business, and you're in a band. So you're quite a busy
I actually have 5
five
channels,
channels.
but 3 of them are secret
Secret.
channels.
Oh wow, that's interesting. That's really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but congratulations on the 20,000 subscribers. What a great achievement that is. You've only been your
Mhm.
channel's 2021. You started doing it during the pandemic.
I just had, yeah, the anniversary in, it was, I think, a 4-year anniversary in January,
Wow.
February.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah,
That's good. I really like the last videos that you did. Was that like behind the scenes, showing you doing like your business dealings with people coming into the office?
Oh, kind of like
Yeah, that's
Pawn
like,
Stars.
I
Similar
literally
thing.
got Pawn Stars vibes from it, and like, you know, like Storage Wars and stuff like that. It's like that reality TV type.
I was on Storage
What?
Wars. Yeah, so so me and my friend, we were watching Storage Wars, and we used to watch it, you know,
Religiously.
whenever it was on, like, yeah, pretty much every episode. And then my friend, he's just like, he's like, one day he says like, hey, I looked online and they have like these auctions at local storage lockers. He's like, we should just go and do it for fun. And we're like, okay, we weren't doing anything for the weekend. So we went to like one, and we're like, oh, this is kind of cool. Went to another. And then the third one we went to, we walk up there, and before we could get in, they're like, oh, you need to put like tape over your logos. Like he had a Nike logo, and he's like, you can't wear that hat. And we're like, you have to sign these forms. And we're like, what? This is very odd. And then we're like, why do we have to do all this stuff? They're like, oh, they're filming Storage Wars. And I was like, wait, what? And so then, yeah, we just happened to walk into one, and they're filming. Me and my buddy are on camera and everything. We're on one of the episodes.
The containers?
No, it's staged.
Oh, it's staged. They already know what's in the stuff.
So, yeah, they kind of already know. And then on top of that, like we had to film things multiple times. And the lockers that they're filming are only the ones that the main crew is bidding on.
So, okay. You ruined the illusion, Dave.
Yeah, well, it's an old show. I don't think it's on anymore. But yeah, I was on it.
That's amazing.
Randomly.
So what I'll do before I start with the first question, Dave, just have a quick hello to the people in the chat for joining this evening. We've got Mike Cecilia in the house. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got EML. Hi, everybody. Thank you very much. We've got my darling wife who does all my stuff behind the scenes. Thank you so much for joining us, Gemma. We've got Jason Parker Comics. Big shout out to Jason. He's a customer of yours. He regularly buys from your website. He's based here. He's based here in the UK, in Wales. We've got Kenneth in the house. Thank you so much, Kenneth, for joining us. We've got JSS Brooklyn. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. JSS Brooklyn always asks really good questions, so I'm glad he's here tonight. We've got Lawrence from Mighty Comics and Collectibles. Thank you for joining us, my friend. Thank you so much. We've got Bikerman. Thank you so much for joining us. Jason Parker says that I look sleepy. I probably do, actually. I've been up since 5 a.m. But
so it's 11 o'clock.
Yeah,
I've been
up since I get up for work every day at 5 a.m. So
what time do you normally go to bed? I'm in bed by like 8, 9 p.m.
I normally go to bed sometime between 11 and 12, but
oh well, you're kind of a night owl then.
Yeah, I think I roughly probably get about 5 hours sleep.
Oh no, I get like
17 hours.
No. Yeah, I'm usually in bed between like 8 and 9. And I'll usually be I usually, when I'm in bed, unless we're watching something, I go to sleep. My wife hates it because I'm the type of person, I lay on the pillow, sleep. and then I'll wake up once or twice in the middle of the night because my dogs, they sleep in bed. So either one of my dogs, he's like, I want to sleep on the ground. And I'm like, don't sleep on the ground.
You want to get up in the middle of the night.
And so then we have a ramp but they refused. They use it all day long, all night long. But then in the middle of the night, they want me to get out of bed and pick them up and put them into bed. So one of the dogs will go down and drink some water in the middle of the night, and then not use the ramp to get back up, even though she's done it a million times. So she'll whine right next to my face. I pick her up, put her in bed. And the other one will be like, no, I'm not going to sleep in bed with you. Not tonight, Dad. And then he will go in his bed down below. And then in the middle of the night, he's like, I changed my mind.
I want to be where the warmth is.
Those are the times I wake up.
Yeah. Oh, man. I do miss having a dog, to be fair. That's you got two? So you got two. What are the names?
Yeah, 2 French bulldogs. I love animals. I love animals more than humans. So I love my dogs.
No children?
Dogs. No children. Hopefully soon, but
what are the dogs' names, if you don't mind me asking?
Frankie and then Quinn. Quinn is actually named after
Oh,
Harley
okay,
Quinn.
cool.
Yeah.
What's
So
with
yeah.
Frankie? Is that anything or?
No, my wife just liked the
Oh,
name
cool.
Frankie, so she got the first name. I got his middle name. His middle name
Oh,
is
nice.
Deadpool.
Quality. That's awesome.
And he's like certified and everything. He has like a lineage that you can follow for years and years and years. And so he's officially like on the website as Frankie Deadpool
Oh, that's
Wilson.
amazing. JSS, thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate that. He says this will be great. I have a feeling this will, David. To be fair, how big is Dave's water bottle? I thought they were asking for something else then, but yeah, it's pretty big.
Yeah, it's 96 ounces, which I don't know. I think that's like half a gallon. I don't know it in
Yeah.
UK terms, but
Darth Lopez, dude showed great poise against you know who in the Terror Dome. Cool. It's late. It's a late one, Jason. Hope you're doing well. I think everyone's just talking to Dave. I appreciate your store auctions and insights. How do you like working with your family and your brother on the comic book side?
yeah, it's great. I mean, we grew up around comic books, so we're both into that kind of stuff. So it makes it nice and easy. But yeah, it's great.
For anybody who I doubt for anybody who's watching that's not subscribed to, but that's Mike has very kindly put your link to your channel in the chat. We've got Reston's Last Stand. Reston, so thank you so much for joining us. And see if there's anybody else quickly who's joined us now. We've got Chadman. Thank you so much for joining us as well. But as usual, JSS Booking has asked a bunch of questions. I will star them and I'll put them in the appropriate part of the interview. But so Dave, first question is very simple. You can't fail this. It is who is Comic Book Investments? Who is David?
Who is he? He's a human, or actually, it might not be. I could just be AI this
it could
entire
be.
time because
Taking over.
yeah, only a few people have actually met me. No, I'm basically, I don't know. I'm just a person that likes comic books. Started doing, basically reselling comic books and growing a business, and then grew it more and more and more. And the goal is to continue growing more and more and more. Just, making a great site for, collectors and dealers and people to interact and meet. And the YouTube channel I'm the type of person that I'm always doing something. Like I'm always working on something. So I have like weekly projects, monthly projects, yearly projects, decade-long projects that I'm always working on. So like a lot of times I'll work on like music or something like that. So I just made an album, released it, I don't know, like 2 months ago. That took me a year to do. This next thing I'm going to do is, which I've always wanted to do, is I'm probably going to do a comic book. So I've always wanted to, I'm not going to draw. I wish I could draw. I can't draw, but I like creating. So I'll create a comic book. So that's going to be something. So I'm always doing something, always creating something.
Is that going to be self-funded, or are you going to like do a Kickstarter campaign or anything like that?
Well, I'll probably do a Kickstarter. I'm gonna merge a couple, so I really love I think they're called like anthologies, where what's that show called? Like Love, Death and Robots, or Black Mirror, where it's like one-off stories. Twilight Zone, they're not connected. And so I have a bunch of stories that I've always written down. And I was like, I want to do, instead of doing like a comic book, oh, these are the characters and, it continues on. I'll do like maybe a little bit bigger, and it's just maybe a handful of different stories, individual stories, and that's it. And then what I wanted to do is I wanted to merge my love of music and comic books. So I was going to write songs that embody what that story is about. So if it's like a love story, for example, it would be kind of like a love song, and it talks about the content.
And you'd be the perfect person to probably write that because of your background.
Yeah. So that's something I'll probably be working on this year, and hopefully,
But wouldn't it be pretty cool if it's an anthology, but it's secretly in the same universe, and you just go, bam, there you go. Here's a little.
it could be. It's also kind of like I have a couple of ideas of an ongoing series that I want to do, and this is kind of like a way to see like if people even
Yeah.
like it. Like think of like a one shot, and they're like, "Oh, I like this universe and these characters," and so I can just like, okay, I'll continue it on from there.
That's cool.
So, they all the stories will end, in a way that it could continue on if
Okay,
need be.
cool.
So, and if I really like it, that's another thing. If I like doing this, and also how expensive
Yeah,
it's gonna be.
definitely. Yeah. Yeah. That.
My goal is just break even. I was talking to Swaggle House because he just released his comic book,
Yeah.
not too long ago, and I was like, "Did you break even?" He's like, "Yeah, I basically broke even." And I was like,
Yeah,
"If I can break even on a project I do, that is
yeah,
a
definitely,
win."
especially the first
Because
one.
my music has always cost me. I never made nothing close to what I spend on it. So if I could break even, I was like, sweet, I could basically do this, work my normal job doing comic books, but I can fund my passion projects and not lose money.
That sounds like a good idea, buddy. We've got Gem Mint Collectibles in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us, Gem. Really appreciate it, buddy.
Hey.
Yeah, so you mentioned about selling comics. Is this something that I know that I know what the answer to this is, but your father has been in the comic book business. You've grown up around comic books in the industry.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. As I've gotten older, I've learned to ask like certain questions and remembered them. So I just now found out more in depth about how he got started in
Wow.
comic books. He always loved comic books growing up, but he had a construction company that he owned, and he was making $100,000 a year back in the early
Okay.
80s, and he just hated it. And so he on the side, he paid a person to learn how to restore comic books. And so on the side, he would basically buy comic books, restore them. Back then, it wasn't that big of a deal to restore comic books how it is now. And so he'd restore comic books for people, and then he would also like go around and try to find collections and sell them at like conventions, stuff like that. It got to the point where he was making decent money, not as much as in construction, but he didn't like doing construction anymore. So he basically gave his business to his brothers, and he did comics full time. He moved to Washington, and his first year full time, I think he said he made $7,000. So it's like, and he had a family, right? At this time, we were a family of, I don't know, probably there's 4 of us, 4 kids, so 6, including him and my mom. And my mom didn't work.
So he was 93,000 short from the previous.
Yeah, from the previous. And so he thought he just made a big mistake, but then I don't know, things just picked up.
Okay,
so it worked
cool.
out.
And how long was he doing? How long were you like involved or around that growing up then?
So I was born in 85. So at the time, he was already doing comics full time when I was born, or close to it, I think. And then basically, ever since I can remember, I always worked for my dad. So it would either be because back then there was no internet. So he would go to shows, cons, and get people's like numbers and addresses, and then he would mail them a catalog with all of the stuff. So I would stuff the catalogs. I would also I would do bags and backboards, like put them together. And I always worked for him. I was like the one that would always work. As soon as I had done with school, I'd go work for him. And I would use my money and buy comic books.
Cool. So effectively, he was just paying you with comic books. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So I liked Hulk, so I almost completed an entire run of Hulk up to whatever new was at the time. I never got a Hulk 1. I also had Tales of Astonished 59 all the way up, and because that's when 59 is when the Hulk first appeared. I think I never had a number 1. I think I had a number 2. I'm not entirely sure, but I know I had
Yeah.
3 through 6. I also had 2 copies of 181. I had a coverless
What age
copy.
were you when you had these 181s and 2, 3, 4 to 6?
Under 16. So, I got a Hulk 181, and CGC was like brand new
Yeah.
at this point, and I had a 9.6, and I sold it to buy a car. So I sold that 9.6 because I had the
Yeah.
coverless copy. So, but then when I started the business, I sold
Yeah.
all my comics.
You sold all of them to put money into the business. Oh, cool.
Yeah. So that would have been in 2009. I sold everything. I still have a couple things left, but nothing of significance, or I don't even know why the stuff I have left behind. It just, I think it was like I had like a separate box of just random stuff, and I didn't end up selling it. Not for any reason, just it just happened.
So you said that you were born in 1985, so that means at some point this year is your 40th birthday.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I'm gonna turn 40 next month.
And are you able to share what you're doing for your 40th birthday? Because we did talk about this backstage briefly, but
yeah. So we kind of started this tradition in my family where on the person's 40th birthday, the family will get, or the brothers will get together and do a trip. And so last time for my brother's 40th, went to Japan. This time we're going to actually Scotland and London.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so we're gonna go hang out over there.
Attempt to play golf, did you say?
Yeah, I've always wanted to. I mean, I can at any point. I literally live like half a mile from 2 golf courses. I mean, it's Southern California. There's golf courses everywhere. Yeah, but I just never have, and I was like, oh, it'll be interesting. And so then I was like, well, we can go to Scotland where golf was born and play there. But here's the thing: there's in Scotland, there's a thing called the oldest golf course. That's what it's called. I think it is. But most of these golf courses you can't actually golf on unless you're good.
Unless you're really good.
They don't allow beginners. They don't want them messing up the courses. So I was like, oh, that's interesting.
That's cool. Just trying to find the name of that oldest golf course in Scotland. Yeah, it's not St Andrews, is it? I don't know.
It might be. I don't know.
But yeah, cool. So. Are you flying out? Are you all flying out together, or are you flying out separately? Or
well, we kind of all live around different parts of the state, different states. So yeah, some of us will be flying together. Some of us will just meet there.
Do you find that your little bit of your history growing up around comics it's very similar to it's very similar to Comic Tom's? Like he grew up in a comic shop with his dad growing up, and
yeah, his dad had a comic book shop. So it's definitely, I mean, very similar, yes, but I mean, a little different, I guess. So, but yeah, I guess very similar.
Do you feel any pressure, like you selling comics as your profession now, like from your dad's legacy or anything like that, or is he quite supportive?
No, I don't. Yeah, no, he's definitely very supportive. Like a lot of people think that I continued the business, but that's not how it happened. He sold his business when I was in high school, and he retired. When
so how would he have been in his 40s or?
Yes, he was.
Is that the plan for you as well, or?
No, I like working. So he sold the business at 45. He's like, I have all these other things I want to do. He was done with comics, right? He was like, I'm over comics. I don't want to deal with them anymore. I don't know why. But so he was done. He sold the business. Then some bad things happened. Life happened. And he ended up having to get back into comic books years later. And then he ended up working for Heritage. And then he ended up working for CBCS, and now he works at PSA. So, yeah, so life happened. He had to go back into work.
Just when you think you're out of the game, and pull you back in again.
Exactly. He wishes he could be retired, but it is what it is. Life happens. Things are expensive. But no, I never when when we started this business, he wasn't really in
Yeah.
comics. So we just started the business on our own. Now, obviously, he taught us
Yeah.
everything. But in terms of like us taking over his business, like he had like kind of like a separate little business where he would flip comic books for a little bit before he worked for Heritage. But yeah, it was just completely separate. But he did pass on all of his knowledge. So we do get that.
We kind of really kind of gone over like how you got into collecting. Like you come through comics through obviously your dad's business. Is your brother's name Thomas? Does he collect as well?
He collects well, when he was younger, like a little bit, like all my brothers did a little bit, no one to the extent that I did. But now he collects like video game stuff and like Pokemon cards.
A man after my own heart. I should have got him on instead. I'm checking. So you mentioned about that. What is your favorite comic then that you've ever had? Is it a Hulk 181 or is it a
the business has had, or I
that's
have
the thing,
personally?
isn't it? So because you've come into contact,
I mean, they're all mine
yours,
technically.
Personally, that you've owned then in your life.
I mean, when I was younger, it was very interesting. I remember working so hard to get that Hulk 181. It was a lot of work, a lot of hours. And when we started the business, I remember we bought a Hulk 181 to resell. And I was like, oh, and, I got that feeling again, like Hulk 181. And then within a week, it was gone. And then I remember the next week, we got 2. And then, I've made videos where I have like a stack of them. The stack is much smaller. I've sold a bunch of them. But so I don't know. It was different when I was in just being a collector and achieving something I really wanted or loved versus now it's just like I just go through, I get Hulk 181, whatever, it's throw it over there. It's like that book meant so much to me. Now is almost not meaningless. Like I still like it and I still, like it, but the stuff that makes me, I guess, the most, I guess like, oh wow, like amazed to get in. It's stuff that's like I've never gotten in before, or I think it's like rare, or a 101, or just things like that. I still get like, oh, this is really cool, to have. And I really love researching, especially I love finding things I don't know about in comics, and then I have to go down all these rabbit holes. Now it gets harder as I've become more of an expert because I know so much stuff. So it becomes harder when I find something I have no idea what it is.
You got to satisfy the need.
Then it's like if I don't know what it is, if I don't know what it is, then most people don't know what it is. So it's, for example, I found this one comic book today, and I had no idea what it was. It was a DC comic. They made this comic book. It was called Dark Ages of Camelot, I believe. Comics Journal, right? I'd never heard of this thing. And I'm like, what is this? What is this? And so that means I have to go find it, in which I love. So then I am like deep diving in all these things. Not very many people know what it is. I have no idea what its value is, which is another cool thing. I'm like, is this expensive? At the time, it was on eBay. And at the time, it was up to $500. So I'm like, what is this thing? $500 is made in 2000. Yeah, it was made in 2001. Like that stuff intrigues me. And I'm like, what is this? So I have to find out what it is and research it. And is it valuable? I don't know. I don't know if it's valuable. It's people are bidding it for $500. Is it $500? I don't know. So I find that very interesting. And it's kind of like, it reminds me of, there's like these 2 books that I never knew what they were. And one of them, Comic Tom actually has. It's a Salt Lake City Comic Con from 93 or I forget when. And it's the first published appearance of Hellboy.
Yeah.
And so what it was is you go to a Comic Con, they give you some random free pamphlet, and it's, there's a published thing of Hellboy. Those things, most people throw those away, especially back in the 90s. Those things are worth tens of thousands of dollars. And it's also kind of like Bone by Jeff Smith, right? I think that's his name. Yeah. He did a thing called Tales of the Lantern before he did Bone, which was he would work at a college or a high school, and he made these little comics, and he put them into a book, and it's like super rare, and that thing's worth like tens of thousands of dollars as well. So it's like those kind of things are super
Yeah, because
interesting to
they're
me.
not your
You know,
conventional looking comic books. They're like,
Mhm.
just like pieces of paper, aren't they? Like with some drawings on and stuff. That's cool.
Yeah, so it's like when I find stuff like I was explaining today, I'm like, "What is this? I wanna
Yeah.
know about it. I want to understand it," and that the stuff is very interesting to me. So it's generally as I've, gotten older and know more about this stuff, it's generally very
Yeah.
obscure stuff that makes me more interested, but I'm still very interested in comics.
Yeah. I'm testing my memory here because I think because I've had Tom on the channel probably about 6 months ago, and I'm sure he
Mhm.
said that he sold that Hellboy comic.
Yeah, I think I talked to him on the phone not too long ago, and I can't remember. I do remember we had a conversation about it, but I don't remember. But either he sold it or he got an offer for it.
I seem to remember he sold it, got another one, and then maybe got another off. I can't remember. It's something like that. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you get on then? I take it, or you have phone calls with Tom. You get on with him then. He's a
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, he's a very cool
Yeah,
guy. I
same
like
here.
Tom. Like, he, reached out to me when I was just starting off and out of the blue and just basically gave me
Yeah,
advice.
yeah,
Just free of charge, no didn't want anything in return, and it was just very cool. And I met him at San Diego Comic-Con briefly.
yeah. He's a really good dude. I like him a lot. Got a lot of time
Yeah,
for Tom. Um,
yeah.
right. So everyone in the chat is talking about being 40 years old. So everyone's saying happy birthday. Let's have a look.
Thank
Uh,
you. I'm not 40 yet, I'm still in my 30s.
he's got a month to go. He's got a month to go.
Yeah,
But yeah, we've got my wife Gemma's wishing you a happy birthday for next month.
thank you.
Mike has said, "Welcome to your 40s, Dave. Enjoy the trip." Right.
Oh, no, I don't wanna be part of
It is
that.
St Andrews is the oldest golf course in Fife, Scotland.
Okay, yeah.
Um,
1552.
Gem Mint is saying that 40 is the new 20. It definitely is.
Yeah. Yeah. We were talking backstage, and, I vividly remember my dad's 40th birthday, like, all the family and everyone came over, and I remember thinking everyone was
Yeah,
so old, and now I'm there,
you don't
and
feel old.
I don't
Yeah.
feel old, and yeah, but I
Uh,
guess I am.
50 is the old 40. So, okay, to that.
Hmm.
My wife has put, I remember looking at my parents when I was little thinking 40 was old. Yeah, we had that exact conversation behind.
Yeah.
We've got Christina Payne in the house. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Dave, do you attend any conventions besides San Diego?
No, I've done San Diego, I grew up in San Diego Comic-Con, like, we went every year, my dad would have a booth. I've done a couple, like, more local, even though I'm local to San Diego, but, not as big. Um, but, mm, not generally. There's one called WonderCon I've been
Okay.
to a handful of times that's up in Anaheim. It's, I would say, like, half the size of San Diego Comic-Con, a third or a quarter.
Have you noticed a significant
Um,
difference growing up at going through the Comic Cons, that how busy they're getting? Has it changed since you were a
yeah,
kid?
so when my dad first started going, and I was, like, an infant, basically, it was in, like, a hotel, in, like, a
Oh,
hall of a
okay.
hotel. Um, and then, it wasn't until I think 91 they went to the
Yeah.
convention center.
Was it
Um,
purely just comic books back then, or was it toys and stuff as
yeah,
well?
well, so I actually did a video on how San Diego Comic-Con started. It actually started with Jack Kirby and a group of, like, kids
Oh,
to
okay.
adults, Uh, and basically he said in the beginning, "Don't just have comics, have, like, what we consider nerd culture today, have, like, sci-fi, have, like, movies, all that
Yeah.
kinda stuff,
Get
because
a
you wanna
mix.
put them all together to make it bigger." So it's always kinda been that way, but I would say since the MCU started in, like, 2008, it's definitely changed a lot.
Yeah.
So it's not like comics are a very
Percentage.
small
Yeah.
portion now of San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah, I think that's the same. Like, so in this country, we've got Comic Cons, but there's probably like maybe you're lucky if you find one or two stalls that sell comics. It's like Funko Pops, toys, other collectibles and stuff like that. And mostly got cosplay and stuff like that. We've got Ian and Becca Comics in the house. Thank you so much for joining us. How's it going? We're doing well. Thank you very much. So JSS Brooklyn has said, Dave, not to start anything, but your political videos were very intuitive and interesting. Do you intend to do more non-comic content?
I do my Love Angeles channel where I do those documentaries and post my music and music videos. I did another comic channel where I was just going to do only documentary stuff, but I just really don't have the time. I posted one video and I looked at it today. I was like, when I feel like I just posted that video like 3 months ago. It was almost a year ago. Yeah. So I do have non-comic book stuff that I do. So, but it usually goes like this. Like my comic book channel is like my main thing. So if I have free time, I'm going to focus on that. My Love Angeles is my passion projects. So I will do that secondary. Unless I'm working on something and like an album or something like that. And if I'm working on an album, then that ends up taking precedent over my comic channel. So that's usually how it goes. So then if I have any extra time, I have these other channels that I do stuff to. So it doesn't happen often.
Do these the political videos, do they do well or in comparison to the other content? Or
I did one. It wasn't even really that political. It was more of like I just wanted to like take a guess at like how our election was going to go, and that way like I'm like, look, it's on. Like, you know how people will like make a prediction and you're like, oh sure, after it's already over. I'm like, look, timestamp. So I did that, and then I did a couple other videos, and I thought like, oh, this would be a cool ongoing series to do like on a separate channel. But then I was like, I'm just too busy and I just don't have time. Because it's not just like making the video, it's like I have to keep up with all what's going on and then give my assessment of what's happening, and that's just too much. And politics are way too divisive. So it becomes like it's fun to have an like opinion, but I realize that a lot of people out there can't handle other people's opinions sometimes, especially when it comes to politics, and so it just becomes like a fight. And I'm like, I do this for fun. Like I'm not trying to start something.
I totally agree with you. So the next question is, what made you start doing a YouTube channel? So you've already talked about it, where your everyday job, you're utilizing your skill set from your business that and you're making like informational videos, informative videos that could be digested by like either collectors or investors. Are you throwing very much that into
everyone? Pretty much anyone.
Yeah,
but
and so you kind of having to. Your job is like you're keeping a constant eye on the comic book market, so what's.
I do that anyways because that's my business. So it's kind of like, when I do those like 5 comics going up or going down, usually a lot of the times is because I'm researching stuff on my day-to-day for my business, and I see that and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. For example, someone was talking to me about Thor 165, first full Warlock, and they're like, oh, it went pretty low. And so I like looked at it and I was like, oh, this is interesting. It like that comic is now down below where it was, pre-comic boom. A lot of times like, oh, 2019, 2020, that's where most comics seem to be like settling. But this one's actually down to like 2014 levels. So it's kind of that that was interesting. So it's usually like I'm having conversations or I'm researching something, and then it's like, oh, that stands out, and then I make a little note of it, and I'm like, I'll put this in a
So
video on the weekend.
what is something that grabs your attention in terms of what is the type of increase or decrease? Is it got to be over a certain threshold for you? Because it's mostly like the thumbnails that you use. You use thumbnails with, like, your head in your hands and like shock faces, like that.
Yeah.
But like the figures,
Yeah.
like minus 91%, or it'll be like plus 70%, 80%, or whatever. Is that the type
Yeah.
of drastic? Because you're not going to go, 0.5% is not going to, or it's not going to look as attractive, is it? I guess.
Yeah. No, I'm not really looking for anything. I'm just looking for, I mean, just based off the comments, I got a lot of different like feedback on what people get out of the channel, because a lot of people are like, oh, it's nice to know where, because a lot of people, they're not researching this. So it's like, I'm bringing them this attention. So it's like, if I do one on Transformers, number one, someone would be like, oh, perfect. I've kind of wanted to know where this book is at. And that maybe it's going down, but in that person's eyes, it's like, oh, this is the time I want to buy it. Now I know what I should be spending on this book in this particular grade. Or if it's going up, then it's like, oh, nice, I have that book, it's going up. Or, oh, I wanted to get that book. Okay, it's going up to this level. Now I know what price to pay. So a lot of people use it as this research for their own, buying or selling. So I don't really go into it with like, oh, I need to find one that's like 99% drop.
It's just literally what you come across in your research for your job.
Yeah, usually once I find 5 and that fit, either going down or going up, I'm done. I'm not researching anymore to find better ones. Like, oh, this one only went down 88%. I'm gonna find one that went down 90%. I don't do that because I do every weekend. So
is there a particular book that you like get sick of talking about, or that's constantly like keeps reoccurring on the channel?
Oh, Eternals one.
Oh my!
No,
the drop in that is insane.
I love talking about it because I find it a very interesting case study. So I don't mind. I always make a joke about it. I'm always like on my channel making a joke about Eternals number 1. But it's just a cautionary tale. The whole thing around it was basically Eternals number 1. It's like, here's these unknown characters to most everyone, even comic book people. No one's barely anyone read Eternals number 1. In fact, I know a lot of people did not read Eternals number 1 from the the 70s, because a lot of them are in very nice shape. What happened was, there's a lot of 9.4s, 9.6, and 9.8s of this book, because what happens is they went to sell it at the comic book stores and newsstands. No one wanted it, so they returned a bunch of them. So there's a lot of distributors that had a bunch of extra ones. That's why there's a lot in high grade.
What you gotta remember about that cover as well, it's black as well, so like any spine ticks will show up quite clearly. So
so a lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people didn't read it at the time. The thing got canceled. It wasn't a very hot ticket thing, and so this was a cautionary tale of people jumping on the bandwagon of, oh my gosh, this new movie, TV show, characters coming out. This thing is going to go literally from $200 in a 9.8 to like $4,000, and then people realizing, wow, there's a lot of 9.8s out there. And the reason why they didn't think there was that many to begin with, because no one bothered to get it graded, because there were so many. So a lot of people just like, oh, I have like a stack this big of number 1s. I'll get them all graded. And so that it just, supply and demand, and boom, drop the price.
And of course, the movie didn't do as well as they hoped.
No, the movie was just whatever.
I didn't enjoy it either.
I mean, there's some interesting parts, but I didn't like, honestly, I never walked out of the theater going, wow, I really want to watch this again. I just walked out and it's like, it was something.
Genuinely, there's very few Marvel films that I've not rewatched since, like it came, like I'll see it at the cinema, and then when it comes out, like, on Disney Plus or whatever, I'll watch it again. But that is one film that I've never watched again, along with the Marvels.
The one thing that was really I know
Yeah,
comic books, and even I was confused. So if I was confused with this, everyone else was, because they would have characters. You had so many names
yeah,
to remember, so many, and that's like the worst. These are all brand new. It wasn't like, oh, Hulk, Thor,
yeah.
someone
Of
you've seen
course, yeah,
before. All brand new characters, and so they're talking about characters that aren't on screen, or they're not talking directly. And you're like, wait, who is
yeah,
this character? Wait, what is their powers? What do they do? Who is this about? And they're like, oh, here's like whatever it was, 6 or 7 characters you all have to learn. Then you have to learn their sub characters of there, and you're just like, what is going on? Like, that's it was, and I was like, I could not imagine someone who's not, you know, into Eternals like just an average
yeah,
person, what they're
yeah.
thinking. And that was a big problem. And I heard that they wanted to even double the amount of characters, or like
Well,
have way
I
more.
think the thing that
Just
annoyed me the most is they got the actor who played Jon Snow in Game of Thrones, Kit Harington, to be the Black Knight.
yeah, Black Knight. He's
Barely
barely
in the
in
movie.
it.
Like what? Like that was the only thing I was kind of looking forward to, because I thought,
And Black, whatever his name is, the Black Knight, he was like in like the promo stuff. Everyone was
yeah,
talking,
Black
oh,
Knight.
the Black Knight's going to be Black
Kevin
Knight. It's like,
Feige was
he
saying,
wasn't in it.
he was doing interviews on the red carpet saying, we've got Kit Harington as our Black Knight. This is going to be great, but
We're going to win Oscars. Whenever they say that, I'm like,
no.
nope, it's a bad movie. And this is another thing is Marvel, at this point, Marvel started going like, we need to get these inexperienced,
directors,
naive
writers,
directors.
yeah.
And I'm like, you don't have any experience. Like, this person that directed this movie, her claim to fame was about, it's called No Man or Nomad or something like that, about an indie movie about a girl who's homeless pooping in a bucket.
Jesus.
How does that translate into a massive $200 million
movie?
Yeah, budget with like, you're doing green screen, you have to know about special effects. Like, there's a show called Corridor Crew, and they do like art, CGI artists react. It's on YouTube. Yeah. And they like, I watched that stuff, and they're talking about, it's like when you film a scene and it's going to be CGI, you have to be a CGI artist to know like where to put the camera, or to make it look good, make things make sense, or it just makes it harder and makes things look weird. And I guarantee you this director had none of that. And so it just makes me so mad that I'm like, why are you doing this? Why are you putting these inexperienced, young, not talented enough writers, directors, people that don't even care about comic books to begin with? You think she was like a big Eternals fan?
No,
it's like, no, she wasn't. Yeah. It was just maddening. And it was like, you deserve to lose money, and you deserve.
I think it was the Corridor Crew that. You remember there was like that leak of Andrew Garfield on the No Way Home set, like it was like a 4K like video of him saying something, and like they like basically went, yeah, that's like a legit video, like that's not fake, that's real like a real video.
Oh,
So I think that kind of like spoiled the surprise a bit for No Way Home.
Oh yeah. So if it's a movie I want to see, and there's anything of a hint of a spoiler,
you stay away.
I check out. I don't. Yeah. I stay away. So
what's been your favorite Marvel film so far?
Favorite Marvel film would be
the silence is can hear the cogs go.
Well, I'm going through them all, right? So I'm trying to remember what I felt after watching it for the first time, because it's one thing to go back and be like looking at them, you know, oh, I really like this and this and this one. I really love the Hulk with Edward Norton, because Hulk's like my favorite, and I watched that in 2008. And I was blown away with that fight scene. Yeah. I loved it.
It's underrated. That is definitely underrated.
And you go back now, if you watch it now, it's like, okay, that movie's almost 20 years old, which is kind of crazy.
Do you not think that CGI is just getting progressively worse or lazy?
I do think a little of that, but it wasn't the CGI. I can get past bad CGI. But I would have to say I loved Infinity War. I thought that the only reason I did not like it like perfectly was the fact because I'm a huge Hulk fan, and they did Hulk bad. They neutered him, and I thought, okay, he's gonna have his comeuppance in Endgame, which they never did. So I was like, if they would have, then I would have probably put Infinity War, but I might say either Winter Soldier or Civil War, just because I thought those two movies were so good, so good, and they made me love Chris Evans as Captain America. They made me the first Captain America. I was like, it's okay. But they made me love to the point where I think Chris Evans, Captain America, became my favorite character out of all the MCU.
Yeah.
So throwing that into the mix, maybe it's either Hulk 2008, Civil War, and Winter Soldier, those two movies, or Infinity War.
What was your?
I also love Doctor Strange number
one. That was what was your favorite experience in the cinema?
Favorite with Marvel movies or just in general?
For me, like, although I don't think it's the better, like, it's not my favorite Marvel film, but that whole In No Way Home in 2021, hadn't been to the cinema in ages, or the movie theaters, or whatever you guys call it over there. And then like seeing the 3 Spider-Men on screen, for me, I wouldn't like that was one of my best movie experiences, like in a cinema.
That was actually not a very good experience for me.
Oh, was it not?
No, because we were supposed to go see it with a bunch of friends, and so we get together, we all meet there, and the theater screening that we had tickets to broke. So then they're like, "Well, we can refund you," and all the other screenings were sold out. So we went and had dinner, and then I just looked on my phone, and no one else wanted to go anymore. And I found a theater that was like 20 minutes away.
You went and watched it by yourself?
I watched it by myself. That was the first movie I've ever seen by myself because I want to watch it, and I watched it in 3D, and I hate 3D. But I was like, I want to watch this. So it wasn't as good. But my best Avengers 1.
Yeah.
Avengers 1 because I got with my friends. That was the culmination of everything. Hulk went ballistic. I freaked out when Hulk was like doing actual Hulk things. That was probably the best. But I will say it might be the best movie I've seen in a long time. It's not MCU, it's The Wild Robot. I've campaigned about this movie so many times on my channel to everyone I see. It is an amazing film. And I watched that in theaters.
You cried.
And I'm so glad I did.
Yes.
Yes, I did.
So
100%.
I've got 2 young kids. I've got a 9-year-old and I've got a 5-year-old. And it was a casual Sunday afternoon, and I put this film on. I was like, let's give this a go. I've heard good things. And we were in floods of tears, like the 3 of us. My 5-year-old has never. He was like, "What is wrong with me? I can't. I don't like cry. Why am I crying?" And it's just like my wife walked in. She went, "Why are you guys crying?" And we're like, I said, "This is one of the best movies I've ever seen."
It's so good. I watched the trailer for that, and I was like, okay, this looks like my type of movie. And so I told my wife when it came out, I was like, we're going to see this. And she's like, what are we watching? And she's like, it's a Wild Robot. And she's like, that cartoon movie? And I was like, oh, it's going to be good. I can tell. It's going to be one. And I wanted to go to the theater because the good thing about the theater is there's no other distractions. Like when you're at home, it's like, oh, let me pause it so I can go to the bathroom. Let me phone. Let me get some food. Let me do this. It's like you're just locked in. And I wanted to be locked in for this movie. And man, it is so good. I tell everyone to watch it. It is so good. The fact it didn't win an Oscar makes me mad because I watched the movie that won an Oscar called Flow.
It's not a patch on it.
It's okay.
Yeah. And the music's great in it as well, I thought.
Oh, yeah. The music is fantastic. Oh, I have that soundtrack. I listen to it all the time. It's that if anything deserves a 10 out of 10, it's that movie. So anyone watching in the chat, you literally have to watch that movie. It is so good.
We've had a couple more people join the chat. So we've got Shauna Rain. Thank you so much for joining us. What up, comic investment and MJ Comix? What the word on PSA graded comics? I need to get on. I know. Got Hulk 180 cert too. Nice, lol.
So as far as I know, they're going to start taking consignments at the San Diego Comic-Con this
Is that
summer. So when
July?
was that?
Yeah,
July.
cool. Wow.
Yeah. So that's when they're gonna take it there. I don't know when they open it up for the rest
Yeah,
of the public, but that's
cool.
what I've been told.
We've got Derek Newman in the house. Thank you, Derek, for joining us. Really appreciate you, buddy. He said, "How has your dad been after the PSA CBS drama last year? Hope your dad's okay."
Yeah, I mean, he's good. He's very happy at his job at PSA. He's very excited. He likes it. So I'm happy that he's closer to me now. He was in Texas, so now he's like
Oh,
2
cool.
hours from me. So yeah, so he was like
where are PSA
you know,
based? Well, like there is he headquarters or?
Yeah, so they have it's kind of like a little bit south of
okay.
LA. So
Cool.
yeah.
We've got Madam Blaster in the house. Thank you so much for joining us, Madam. Really appreciate it. We've got Vinny in the house. Thank you so much for joining us. Wild Robot, definitely a great movie. The tears will be flowing. We've got Eli in the house. Thank you so much for joining us. Bryce Comics and comic book investment are the real deal of the community. Everyone else is like BS drama. Appreciate it. Yeah, so what in terms of on YouTube, David, what's the worst thing about YouTube for you when you're doing YouTube? Is it when you put, like you put so much effort into a video, you do loads of research, you're really proud of the video, and then you put so many hours into it, you put it out and it doesn't do as well in comparison to a video that you just literally press record a video and then put it out, and then is it stuff like that? The amount of effort?
That is the worst. That is the worst. I did so I was like, okay, this would be kind of cool. So you know how I do my versus stuff on my music channel. So I was like, why don't I do something like that with comics? I think it'd be cool. So I did right before the movie came out, like maybe a couple weeks or a month before, I did Wolverine versus Deadpool by the numbers. And where I researched how many comics they've been in. How many comic books have each appeared? How many were cameos? How many have their own series? Like all the numbers, like everything. Like what are their top comic books sell for? Like basically just all this data, all this number, like how many kills each character has had in the comic books, like just weird stuff, right? And I wanted to tally them up and kind of see, how that translate into who is the bigger character. And so I put a lot of research. Then you have to film the whole thing. Then I have to do all the editing and, adding the graphics and this and that, all that kind of stuff. Do all that stuff. And the first time I uploaded it, it didn't even crack like 800 views. And I'm like, I'm going to re-upload it. I re-upload it. It gets like 200 views. I'm like, what? Like, I could not believe it. I was like, I can't, like, this is ridiculous. I spent so much time and research. I thought this would be really cool. People would love this stuff. And it just did terrible. Man. Just utterly terrible.
Is it still sitting at 200 views or is it picked up or?
Let me look right now. I can look actually. It's been,
Do you find that there's a key to like consistency in the views, like your regular investment videos in terms of these 5 comics, they always do well for you?
Yeah, so those like 5 comics going up or down, I can generally anywhere between like 3,000 to 6,000 views per video. But I have to figure out how to search. But yeah, so I was hoping for something on this video. Like I don't expect it to do as much as those, but
we got Cliff on Comics in the house. Thank you so much, Cliff, for joining us, buddy. I hope you're well. Yeah, I think it is heartbreaking when you put so much hard work into something and it's not as received as well. But it's not necessarily your fault. It's YouTube for not throwing it out.
Find it. Yeah, so the way YouTube works is it's kind of sucks is that you get pigeonholed. That's why I created another channel to just do like documentary style, because what ends up happening is like, okay, I created this audience and they expect a certain type of video from me. If I throw out anything that's different from that, maybe my audience will like it, but chances are they probably won't like it as much as the stuff they're currently liking. So what YouTube sees from that is goes, okay, David sent out this video. His audience doesn't like it that much. So we're not going to send anyone new. We're not going to try to find a new audience for it because this is David's
Yeah.
audience. And so it's like you get pigeonholed in the section. So if you do something that's a little bit out of the box, compared to if you have a brand new channel and you're trying to create an audience, yeah, it takes a while to create an audience. But if you have a certain, if you're doing documentary styles, it's almost better to have like a separate channel. So it is kind of sucks. It is what it is.
What do you Eli's comment about the rest of the comic community, everyone else is BS. What is your thoughts on the comic book community on YouTube?
Well, honestly, I don't watch too many people. I've seen a lot of people, but as in terms of watching them regularly, my experience though, I mean, I think so. I'll just from the people I watch, Comic Tom, he's great. I don't consider him like drama or BS or anything like that. Swaggle House, I watch his stuff. He's great. I know Bry's Comics is. I've seen a couple of his videos. He seems fine. But again, I don't keep up with these people like daily, weekly, watching their stuff. So I can't comment on every single one. Jem Mintz, I've seen Jem Mintz videos. He's great. The only one I would ever think you could put in that category of like drama or whatever was Sticky Goose, but he quit. So he's not doing it anymore. And I still don't know, like, I can't put a pin in him. I don't know if he was just all kind of an act or like part who he really is. I couldn't really tell. If he was how he was, or if it was when I first saw him, I thought this was like a character he was playing. Maybe that character is built on a little bit of his own, persona, but I thought it was kind of a character. So I don't really know. But he quit. Is he quit forever? I don't know.
So I've interviewed Daniel Sticky Goose on the channel twice, and then the last
I asked him for an interview. He said no. So
how long ago was this? Is this a couple months ago or weeks ago?
Or? So he no, this was he made a video about how no one buys graded books. And I was like, okay, first of all, you don't even know what you're talking about. So I made a video kind of like responding to that video, right? And then he made a video about me saying that I call people that I don't remember exactly, but something along the lines of like, if you don't buy graded books, you're poor or something. I can't remember, but he put words in my mouth. And I was like, whoa, what are you doing, dude? Like now you're causing like, and I thought at this time, I thought this was his thing, right? He kind of like tears down YouTubers. Like that's his thing. I thought that was his character. And so I think I made another video. I don't remember. It was a while ago. And I reached out to him right around that time. And I was like, hey, I like this kind of back and forth we're doing. I think it's kind of funny. Let's do a video together, like an interview. Let me interview you or something like that. And he said no. So I was like, that's fine. You don't want to. Not that big a deal. But because I really just wanted to know, I even told him, I was like, I really only have one question I want to ask you. Is I really wanted to know, and he's not going to come out and say it, but I figured if we talked for like an hour or something like that, I could get a sense. Like, is this an act? Is this like your character? Like in WWF, they have the characters,
Yeah, so my experience with Daniel was the last interview that I did with him. I was like yourself. I thought it was all an act. He was playing the character, but the lines for me got blurred between Daniel and Sticky Goose, and I didn't really, I didn't really like some of the stuff that he said in that interview I did with him. So I've kind of, so I've not spoken to him since, except when he left, I just sent him a message saying I hope you don't stop collecting comics because of all the negativity that is centered around his comment section towards him and stuff like that, because I know that would
I sent him I texted him too, or on Instagram. I was like, dude, you shouldn't quit. You have like an interesting thing going. I would definitely continue it. Because he does get a lot of views, so there are people that are into it. So,
Yeah.
but
It's one of those things. But no, I appreciate you for talking about that subject. Where are we now? So I don't lose. So is there any advice you would give to people who are starting a comic book YouTube channel? Because you did a video where it was titled "Don't Become a YouTuber."
Yeah, it's a
It
lot
is.
of work, and I'm in a blessed, fortunate position where I do
Yeah.
this for a living. So if you don't do this for a living, it like the fact that I do this for a living gives me like I don't know the word clout,
Yeah.
I guess. Not clout, maybe is not the right word I'm looking for, but it gives me like people believe me because hey, you do this for a living, which is true.
Yeah.
Like I always give advice that I take myself. So it's harder if you're like, oh, I'm just like a collector
Yeah.
and I dabble in this stuff, watch my channel. And then, there's lots of channels to watch. So you have to think like, why should I watch your channel? So it's very hard. So the reason why I made that video is because a customer of ours came in and he has two little kids, probably like 8 and 10 or something like that. And he talks about how, they want to be an influencer when they grow up. Like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'm going to be an influencer. And that's a very common thing if you ask, like, there's polls. I want to be an influencer. And the thing is, that's not a job. you look at like someone like Mr. Beast and you're like, oh, he's a billionaire. Okay. He's like 1 out of like 5 billion or 7 billion. I don't know how many people are on social media. And there's an interesting stat I just found out. So Spotify released basically a pyramid of if you have this many plays, you're in the top whatever percentage of all songs on Spotify. If you
have you got information just because you've got content on Spotify? Or is this just a national like a thing that's been bad?
No, I think you can look this up. I think you can. They send me information, but I'm pretty sure you can look this up. If you have 100,000 plays on a song, 100,000 streams, at least 100,000, you are in the top 1%. I have multiple songs with over 100,000. I have one that's at 250,000, another at 250,000, another one's probably at like 150. And let me tell you, so I technically am a top 1%er of musicians on Spotify, at least. That gives you nothing. That gets you nothing, literally nothing. I'm not talking like in terms of money, maybe a couple $1,000s out of my whole catalog, like in terms of those one songs, like hundreds of dollars. So in terms of money, nothing. In terms of like, your band's going to do great. Like people are going to show up to your show. Doesn't mean that. Like in terms of like maybe record labels wanting to pursue you to like put you on them. Nope. Doesn't mean any of that. It means absolutely nothing. Like me being at the top 1% is the same as me being at the bottom 1%. That's literally like to be at a level where you're actually making money, where you can go play a show, people show up to your shows, you can make money from playing a show. You probably have to be, around 1 million plays on a song where you'll see a difference.
How do you get your music like onto like, because when I did the story for promoting this interview, I obviously looked for your music like on Instagram to see if I could put it in the story. How do you get your music onto that, like, or onto like TikTok? Because people's music careers are blown up from their.
So my stuff is on there, but the problem is I have a very basic name, and so when you type in Love Angeles, it's going to pick up something else with love in it or something else with Angeles in it. And so there's so many other probably more popular people with that name in there, or songs that have been used more often. So yeah, I've actually used some of my own music on like Instagram or TikTok, but yeah, it's just one of those things. It's like there's more artists that are more popular, so it's like it's kind of like if you search for something on YouTube, they're going to only show you the most popular people, and you're scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll, and it's just like the videos become like less relevant, but they're just more popular people, so they're always just show up in the
maybe
search.
Like some advice for someone starting a YouTube channel is keep your name quite. I don't know, like, because I find, you know, when someone talks about a channel and you've got to type it in to find it, and it's like some weird obscure name, like it doesn't, you
Mhm.
like I can never find it straight away. But like, you know, like comic book
Yeah.
investments was quite, you know, there's nothing strange about that name. That literally comes up straight away.
Yeah. I would say, like, if you're gonna create any type of social media, YouTube content, do it because you want to. Do it because you love it. Do not do it to become famous or to make money, because I can tell you this,
Yeah.
you won't. Like, it just, like, I even showed my analytics. I make like $500 a month, which is I'm happy about. But I'm saying, like, if I had to live off of that,
Yeah.
I could not. So it's yeah, it just is what it is. Like, if you're going into, if you just like, I just love making videos and I just want to make content and I want like a handful of people to watch it and have like a little community, sure, you could get that. That's achievable. But if you're trying to, like, this is going to be a career, this is going to change my life,
Yeah.
this is not happening. It's not. It's literally, you have to get so lucky, and the luck has nothing to do with your videos. It has to do with, like, the algorithm at the right time. Like, some videos will pop up because what they do is, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, they all do the same thing. They push it to 100 people. Well, it might be 100. It's X amount of people. Depending on how those X 100
Yeah.
people react, it will then push
Yeah.
it to more. So what if you randomly happen to upload a video at the right time when the right people that are on YouTube happen to be wanting your content that you upload, and you send it
Yeah.
to them? Perfect. Now it goes to more people and more people. Or you could literally upload it 5 minutes later and it went to the wrong
Yeah.
100 people, and then your video's dead.
Yeah. If it doesn't take off within the first 24, 48 hours, then it's like it's, you know, I mean, to be fair, I've had like a random shop tour. I do, like, on my channel, I do like go to comic shops and like interesting shops, and I film it. I had like a random toy shop that I visited that was like at 1,000 views, and then like one Christmas it just went up to like 17,000. And I
Oh, that's
thought,
cool.
in my head, I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to get constant views from this video now, like just but it just stopped dead at 17,000.
Yep.
And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why is it just randomly stopped? I thought it was going to be like one of those
Yeah, it's
evergreen, you know, when you hear the term evergreen, but no.
yeah, I've uploaded over 1,000 videos, and I think I have maybe 10 evergreen videos. That's about it. They get anywhere from, 20 to 100 views,
Yeah,
every
and
couple days.
are they like you know, like when people are searching for information on whatever that subject is, or
Yeah, it could just be information. It just could be, I don't know. I
yeah,
really
well, no,
don't
yes,
know.
okay, if
Like,
we knew how YouTube worked, we'd do it.
yeah, if I knew, I'd just make more of those. But
Brilliant.
so, like, I did this one video where it was like the top 10 comics to invest from the 90s. And I did, the 90s was the first one I did. That's like, I think, my number one video on my channel. And it did well, and it still does well. It still gets like 100 views a day. And I uploaded 3 years ago. And so I thought, oh, awesome, this is going to be my thing. So I did the 80s. 80s didn't do as well. So I did the 70s. It did less. I did the 60s. It did less. So it's like, oh, okay, I thought I'd found a thing. And it's like, so I just repeated that thing.
Didn't
And
like it.
none of those other ones are evergreen. None of those other ones got that many views.
Yeah,
So
it's
just like,
frustrating.
all
Definitely
right.
frustrating.
Yeah.
We've got Fuzzy Dunlop in the house. Thank you so much for joining us, Fuzzy. Fuzzy is actually, I think he's from Scotland. So Fuzzy, if you're just tuning in, David is actually heading to Scotland next month. So
No,
2 weeks.
2
Sorry,
weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, Scotland beware.
Mm-hmm.
We got a super chat from Mike Cecilia. So thank you so much, Mike. I really appreciate it. It's a donation to the Content Creator Mental Health Fund. Appreciate that. That's a nice one. But yeah, so I'm just seeing where we're at now. Or where you find investments. Yeah. So the next question, Dave, is primarily it's about your business, Collectors Comics. What sets Collectors Comics apart from other auction sites? Um,
So like other ones like Comic Link, Comic
yeah,
Connect.
I mean, eBay now. I don't know. It is.
Yeah. So
Or,
I mean, we're not like
no.
reinventing the wheel here. Like we didn't make the wheel. So the difference is though, we're 5%. Depending on which site you go to, like Heritage is a 20% buyer's premium. A lot of people don't factor this in. It's 20% buyer's premium and a 15% seller's fee. So at the end of the day, you're spending about 35%
Yeah.
to sell, right? Because if you have a book that's $1,000, that's worth 1,000, and you're the buyer, you're factoring in that buyer's premium. You're not spending 1,000, then adding in 20% puts you at 1,200, and now you just paid 1,200 for a $1,000 comic book. That you're factoring that. So you're going to pay 8 something, and then it'll bring you up to that $1,000 mark. So because the way it works is if you sell it on Heritage, say it's $1,000 comic book. Well, that buyer's paying $800, and with the buyer's premium, it brings up to 1,000. So they're paying $800. Then you basically sold it for $800, and then you spend 15% on a seller's fee on top of that. So then you're losing what, $120 on top of your $800, so down to $680. I think, if I'm asked right. So that's why you sold $1,000 comic book, and you're getting about $680. Now the higher end stuff, they will negotiate their seller's fee. So if you give them $1,000 comic book, you're spending that 35% though, basically. But if you give them $100,000 comic book, it's probably a different story.
So how long
now,
how long has yours been set at 5% for the seller's fee?
So we used to be free when we first
to get
started
people in.
for like a year or something, maybe 2 years. So I think about a year and a half, 2 years, we've been 5%, somewhere around there.
Do you see that at any point going up in the future at all?
So once we get to a point where I can create the value for the customers, then I can revisit that 5%. But as of right now, we're still new compared to everyone else. And we still need to build trust. So like when a customer sends us one thing and they're like, oh, that was a great experience, they're going to send us again. Okay, we built trust with them, but that's one person. Like these Comic Link, Comic Connect, Heritage, they have hundreds of thousands of customers. So we still have to bring, trust to a lot more people, and getting people to use us. If you use eBay, they're about 15% all said and done, but you have to sell the comic book yourself.
Yeah, eBay. I don't know if you know. I don't know if this has changed for you in your country, but most recently for us, they lowered the fee, the lowered the sellers' fees, didn't they? And then now they've introduced the buyer's fee. So if you've got something that you've set for, I don't know, $60, it's actually like 65 now. Like when you go, but it's like a weird. It's not like it's not be like 65.42 cents, like a random figure, and you just think, though, like isn't like it's proven like people want to buy stuff at like 99 or like just at random figures. So it's just like it doesn't look great. I'm just like, this is annoying now. I don't really like eBay as much.
Yeah, and then so people factor in that when they're buying something. For example, so if you have a 5% buyer's premium and a 10% seller's fee, the buyer doesn't care about your seller's fee. But when they look at the price and it's $1,000 comic book, now they're spending an extra 5%. So now it's $1,050. You're like, hey, I don't want to spend that price. So they factor that in. So a seller's fee, a buyer's premium, it all comes back to the seller.
Definitely.
The buyer's just not going to pay as much. That's what it comes down to when you have buyer's premium. So we don't have that. I don't want to do that. I have no desire to do that. It's just like, hey, you're selling a book. We're going to have, if I do raise the fees, which I don't have any plan to do so in the future, in the near future. Yeah. We'll have other ways to, combat that. So you don't have to, maybe it's like, oh, if you want to be like in the future auction, maybe it's a little more. But if you want to do weekly auction, it's still a 5%. Also, we have anything over $10,000. We don't take any fees. Yeah, so the most fees you're going to pay is $500. So we've sold multiple books that are over 10 grand, so for $30,000-$40,000, and all they paid was
To be fair,
500
that's
bucks.
quite an
So
attractive option considered to the
yeah,
other auction sites. To be fair,
yeah, and then on top of that, we also have, you know, I think his name is Doghouse Comics. He did a review of our site. He tried us out, and it was a very nice review, actually. And he just went on certain points because we are collectors and dealers ourselves, and we're also younger. These older people that
yeah,
run these sites, they could care less about updating their site. Like, so we have a lot of cool things. Like, so if you have a CGC graded book, all you have to do is put in the serial number, and it will automatically input all the information, pictures, and everything you want in it. So you really don't have to do much.
does that
So
lift it directly from the CGC website? So like when it's got like
mhm.
that high res scan, that's great.
Yeah. So you can do that to list your books on there if you want to sell. Oh, also our marketplace is free. We don't take a dime. And even if you sell it, we don't take a dime. So you can list your own books for free. But if you want us to sell them, that's when we have a
Yeah,
5%. So if you want to just I mean, no other place has that. So if you have a marketplace and it's a buy it now and you just want to list your book and you're like, I want $1,000 for this, and someone comes and pays you $1,000 for it. Also, we are under the way we work is your book, your rules. Like eBay, if you want to sell something, not only do they take a percentage, but they're like, hey, don't go outside of eBay.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
use this as a payment. This is like it's your book, your rules. You want to take cash? Fine, I don't care. You can accept cash. We don't take a percentage. We don't take nothing. So you sell the book
So,
however you want.
so I
And
was gonna say, so
you
in
do,
terms of your own marketplace, then what is the difference then when if they can sign it for you to sell? Do you promote it or do
so
you
if
like look for
yeah,
buyers?
so if if you want to consign a book to us, you can either sell it in one of our auctions, which means that you send it to us, we take the pictures, we list it, we deal with the buyers, we collect the money, we give you, 95% of the sale because
Yeah,
we take 5%. And we, do that. We do everything. And we also promote it for you. Sometimes I'll put it on my YouTube channel, depending on the book. And so you get all that. If you want to sell it yourself and put it up in our marketplace
yeah.
as a buy it now, you can go ahead at any point and you get
Wow,
100% of it.
that's
We
incredible.
take nothing. Cost you nothing to do. Even when the book sells, there's no like final
Yeah, yeah,
value
yeah.
sell fee or anything.
Because to be fair, it
So
does. Even though your involvement is very little in that sense, but it's still like storage for online for your website and the photos and stuff. Because those photos from CGC aren't small, the high res scan. So
yeah, yeah, and there are obviously costs, but we just
no, it's
eat those
good.
costs. We just think the promotion is better than whatever the cost we have to
Do
pay
you
for
do you
data.
think that
So,
in the future maybe there could be a collector's comics app? Have you thought about that?
yeah, that's like so. A lot of websites that you'll see out there got funding at some point. We've never gotten funding. So like Shortbox, they got like $4 million in funding.
Is that what from
Um,
the government or is that like or
oh, just
private people
private
investment?
people
Okay,
like
yeah,
investing. Yeah. So they got funding. We've never gotten funding. So it makes it very difficult to, do all these changes, add all these things because we have to basically
of
make
course,
money
yeah.
to pay the people to build the stuff. So app, yes, we definitely want to do an app. When that will be, I really
No,
can't tell you.
no,
I have no idea. I'd love to snap my fingers and have the money to pay for it to get it done. But
no. It
yeah,
sounds like you guys have got
yeah,
like a really like honest like business and like it's doing well and that you guys have built like a successful community as well where you've got people coming back and like the recent videos that you've done like I like that content. I think that's great. Like the people
yeah.
coming in.
I wanted to do I wanted to do something new and showcase people's books because like we're a mail order place, so it's like how can I showcase these people's books in
Yeah,
an
yeah.
interesting way? And I love Pawn Stars and all that stuff. And so I thought that was kind of cool. The biggest hurdle is not getting the stuff; it's getting the people that want to come in.
Oh, to do it. Yeah, yeah.
That is the
Yeah,
hardest part. This is the
yeah,
hardest part to get people that want to be
yeah.
on camera.
What
And
you're looking for is that golden nugget of what will be like some wild character who comes in and sets the place alight, and
yeah,
like people are hoping that
yeah.
they're going to come back with some more stuff.
Yeah, it's just finding people that want to be on
Do
camera.
you,
That's the hardest thing. And if anyone wants to be on camera and they want to do it, we want to do more of these, but it's hard finding people that want to just be
yeah.
on camera.
Is your,
Um,
because I think, have you like shortened them down? Because I'm sure there was like a bigger video, or
yeah, I
yeah,
made clips of it. I did. I made I made the long one, which was whatever 12 minutes or 10 minutes or something, and then I made
yeah.
individual clips and posted those um, just for
Are
yeah.
you planning on turning that? You know, if it becomes more people coming in, are you planning on turning that like episodic? You know, yeah,
Yeah, I would love to do a series of that. I would. It was fun doing. Editing was a pain because I edited the whole
yeah.
video myself. Uh, I definitely would. If it turns into something, hire someone to edit that. But at least I can get the first one down to get the kind of the theme.
Is it very much
And
like you know, are they coming there knowing that they're going to be on camera, or is it before? Yeah,
yes, yes. I mean, they're already
yeah. I was gonna
mic'd up
say,
and
yeah.
everything like that, so they knew ahead of time, like, hey, we're filming this day. Can you come in? Yada yada.
Yeah.
So it's definitely that's the hardest part though, is getting people. We have customers like, "Hey, do you wanna be?" And they're like, And I'm
Well,
like because a lot of people, they're not YouTubers, so you put a camera on
yeah,
them,
yeah,
they
yeah.
freeze, and it's just like
Definitely. No,
yeah.
it's a great concept, and I really wish, I hope for you that you can continue doing it, because I think your audience love it. To be fair, uh,
Yeah, and it's fun to do, I like it. Um, I get to, like, put in, like, my I love, just little tidbits of information, like talking about the Hulk
yeah,
and,
yeah, yeah.
all that kind of stuff, like why they changed the color. I love doing all that, the little more history stuff that's always fun for me to do. The funny thing was I had all the raw footage, and it looked very
Oh, okay.
bad. Like, when I first saw the raw footage, I was just
What
like,
do you mean,
"Oh."
like the lighting
Like
or the sound, or what was it?
no, not the lighting. I knew that was gonna be bad because it is what it is. I'm not good at that stuff and, a first one, but just, like, the interactions just felt
Oh,
so fake
inauthentic. Yeah, yeah.
and, like, stale and, like, just so I had to do, like, a lot of editing and cuts and make it, like, fun to the viewer because I don't know if you have this there, but do you ever have, like, commercials on TV, but they're made by the people that own the business, like a
Oh no,
furniture
we don't
store,
have no,
and they're
no.
like, "Come on down to my
Yeah,
furniture
no, we don't
store."
have that.
And you're just like, "Oh, you can find it
Yeah,
online." It'd be like, a local furniture store pays all this money to have a commercial on TV,
they've
and they're like, "I'm not gonna hire actors, I'm gonna do it myself." And then it's like,
it's so,
"Oh,
oh man,
cringe."
no, that's quite,
So that's what it looked like. It was just like, "Oh, so
yeah. And
cringe."
you're just hoping that one person's going to bring like an Action Comics one or something just amazing.
Yeah.
Um, so what else do you collect, Dave? Do you collect anything else?
Um
As an adult now, do you collect, like, you mentioned your brother collects video games and Pokemon cards? Is there anything like?
I mean, I have some sports cards, I have some comics, but in terms of, like, not much anymore, honestly, just because, like, the way the
Yeah.
business is, it's like everything I buy in terms of comics, we end up selling. We have some stuff that is for sale, but not really for sale. I don't know where it is now here, but, I have, like, some original art and some stuff that's, like basically, it's for sale if someone makes me an outrageous
Okay.
offer, but it's not really for sale. So some of that stuff.
So is there anything that you can disclose, like what original art is, or?
Oh yeah, so I have so g- the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles before they appeared in Turtles #1, they appeared in I guess like a comic book,
Yes.
gobbledygook, and they made 50 copies. I have Kevin Eastman's personal copy myself. So is it for sale? Sure, but it's not really for sale. So I have his personal copy that he sold to someone else that then sold to me. Um, and it comes all framed. It has like a letter from him. But then I also have so the Gobbledygook 1 and 2 were drawn, and they were too poor to get it actually printed. So they just took their drawings and made a Xerox kind of copy, and then drew over them and like
Yeah.
made edits, and then Xerox copied those to make issue 1 and 2. And so I have the master set
Do you know what? I
of
think
Gobbledygook
have
1
you
and
done a
2.
video on this?
I might have.
I feel like I've
I
seen.
might have.
I was getting extreme deja vu about it.
Yeah. So I have the master print. So at any point I could go to Xerox and print off as many as
Yeah.
I want. I would never do that, but technically I could.
That's amazing.
So so it's stuff like that. Like one of ones, I love one of ones. Basically, there's you can't get any other ones. That's why art can be so expensive sometimes.
Did you see that the first Black Cat cover sold for like over $1 million? Was it? Bottom 194, is it?
I had was it Al
Milgram?
Yeah. Milgram? Yeah. He did that. I had a recreation of that.
Oh, okay, like a commission, was it? Or yeah.
Yeah. I sold that actually not that long ago. If I would have held it another month,
yeah, you could have sold it.
That one would have helped. Yeah.
That's cool. So do you think that the comic book collecting is only about money? Because there's been a lot of people talking about this at the moment. They're saying that people only collect comics for money, which I don't believe is true, because I think it is an important aspect to a lot of people, but I don't think it's the only reason that people.
No, I don't say this is the only reason, but you have to be honest and to be fair. Most everything has to do with money.
Money makes the world go round.
Right. Yeah. So money is going to be tied to everything. It doesn't matter what it is, because no one's going to buy, say, a comic book for $1,000, or say you have a comic book that's you buy it for whatever you paid for it. Say you bought it for like $1,000, and time goes on, and now it's worth $10,000, and it's worth $10,000. And then someone comes up to you and be like, "Hey, that's my favorite comic book in the whole wide world. Would you sell it to me for $1,000? Because that's what you paid for it." No one would do that. Even if you love comic books, no matter what, and you're like, "I'd only do it for," you're like, "Oh, it's worth 10 grand." Maybe you give them a discount. Maybe you sell it for like 9,000, or I don't know, some kind of discount. But if you both know it's worth 10,000, no, you're not going to sell it for that. It's like, but you bought that for 10 cents back in 1965. Like, why? Like, you're not going to do that. Like, I'm sorry, even if you're the biggest comic collector in the world, like, money is a very integral part to not just comics, but just to everything. So it's not all about money, but it is a massive factor. It just is.
So have you always seen them as like an investment then?
No. Like when I first started, I collected because I loved them and I just wanted them. Obviously when I became a full-time dealer, that perspective has changed. But because it has to. You can't be a collector and a dealer at the same time. The only way you can collect stuff is like how I collect stuff. Like, I have it, it's for sale, but you have to offer me a ridiculous price. So I'll always have it. Because if you start collecting everything you get, then you don't make any money, and then you don't sell anything, and then you end up broke, and then you have to get another job.
What you're trying to say is that it's hard because you have that many stuff coming in and out of your hands. You can't get attached to the stuff. But I think that for me as a collector, like, I will sell stuff to buy other things. Like, I don't sell to make money. That's not my obviously not my job. But I like last year I sold at like Comic Marts so I could buy like a Turtles issue #1, like a 3rd print, which like for me is a big book. So, but yeah, I don't. I totally see what you're saying. I don't think I think it's very difficult for, if you're like a really big dealer, to like collect as well. But there's got to be people who do though, like they collect on the side. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. So also, you need money tied to certain things, like in the collector world, to make grails, right? If everything was $1, it wouldn't have any prestige. And a lot of people, they need something to chase, right? You need something to chase. If everything is just so easy, as here you want a Turtles one, here you go, there it is. It doesn't satisfy anything. it's about collecting. Is a lot has to do with the chase. Like you said, I sold some stuff so I could get a Turtles 1/3 print, and that's like my big book. Like if that Turtles 1 was a penny, or what do you call it over there?
A pound.
A p,
What,
right?
like
Is it called
1p? Yeah, 1 penny.
Yeah, 1p. 1p. Yeah. Oh, it's a penny.
Yeah,
Is that what
yeah.
the p stands for? Oh, okay. So if it was 1 penny, you wouldn't care. Like you just wouldn't care. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, whatever. You know, it's so you need value attached to things, and all the time. Like I have lots of customers. It's like, you know, my number one grail is a Captain America Comics #1, and that's what I'm working towards. And it's like a 20-year long journey of just buying,
Yeah.
trading, buying, trading, buying, trading, and then you get that
Yeah.
thing, right? So, but if that Captain America #1 was worthless, like, you know, nothing, you know, 1 penny, then yeah, I mean, it wouldn't satisfy. It wouldn't be the same thing. So you kind of need money attached to these things to really like, oh, this is a chase. This is like a lifelong dream. This is a
Yeah.
grail.
Do you class investors as collectors?
Do I class investors
So
as collectors?
people who might watch your content for the investment side of it, thinking, well, you know, it's worth buying this comic at the moment, so I can put some money into it, and then like, do you class them as collectors?
100%. Yeah, because here's the thing: is there's a lot of other investments that are probably more fruitful in terms of your ROI, your return on investment. But the good thing about if you do it right, you can buy comic books and they be a decent investment as well. And they're not going to be the best. You could probably find something else that's better, you know. But it's fun. It's better than buying a stock that's just a number on a computer screen
you've got
somewhere,
a physical
and then you're
item,
like,
or you know, or like an NFT.
you got a physical item. You got something that you love, that you like, and on the top of it, and at the same time, it's like, hey, this is kind of going up in value, or it's not really losing value. So,
yeah,
I don't know. I think it's like it's a way to, I guess, invest, but it's also a way to invest in things you like.
My wife's Gemma says dealers might have their own personal collections. I guess there probably are some dealers out there who probably do have the personal collection that they don't touch. I think I'm quite sentimental about some books. Like my wife bought me my only Stan Lee signed comic, which is like an amazing Spider-Man 252, the first black suit.
Oh, nice.
And that was like, I will never sell that. Like, you know, even if, you know, I sold my whole collection, I wouldn't get rid of it because it's sentimental, because it was like a wedding present.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I know a lot of bigger dealers that do have like a collection, but you have to get to that point where you can like the guy at Heritage, Jim Halprin, he has a massive comic collection. Vincent does. I'm sure Josh at Comic Link does. All dealers are gonna have, like, even me, like, right? And I guarantee you, it's the same thing. It's like, oh, this is not really for sale, but it is for sale, just at a high price.
It's for sale at the right price. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, they do to an extent, and as you get more established and, you know, make more money, you can put stuff away that you really like, and it's not going to really hurt your business. You don't have to sell it. For example, we got like a Hulk #190. I would love to keep that book, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
We had to sell it. So I gave it to Heritage. It's actually going to be in their auction.
I was going to ask you about that. Is it going to be in their next auction? Is it?
Yeah, their auction starts in a week. Cool. It's going to be in there. It's like their biggest book of the auction. But we had to sell it. I had a lot of money into it, on top of the fact that we want to grow our business. So we hired another web developer to help. We have one, now we have two. And we, you know, basically it's like, okay, we could keep this book and, you know, just kind of hopefully write it out by paying it off, what we were into it, or we could sell it, pay off our debts, and get another developer, really, you know, build the site better. Yeah, and that's what we agreed to do. Because technically it's not a 1-of-1, so it can be replaceable.
So in terms of, you know, content for yourself for that Hulk, what are you planning to do? Are you planning to do you because you don't really do many lives or anything like that, do you?
I've never done I've done a couple lives, but yeah, not that often.
But would you
Um,
consider like,
no,
you know, when you're the Hulk is you know, like the final hour of it,
yeah, I'll probably do a live to
what it
see,
goes for? That I
how
think that
much,
would do well. That would people watch tune in for
yeah,
that.
how much it's gonna like because I had offers and I chose not to take those offers for a myriad of
Yeah, I
different
mean, I can
reasons.
see your
But
thumbnail now. Am I going to regret not taking those offers and the
yeah, that exactly. Am I gonna regret not taking it? So I mean, we almost did take one, but it just the timing wasn't
Oh,
really
okay.
working for us.
So
So
what that I take it that was a very a decent offer then, was it?
yeah, we got a offer for
Wow.
350, and we were gonna take it, but the timing just wasn't really working for us payment wise. So we you know we were working with Heritage at the same time, and yeah, and so we went with Heritage.
What was it like when did you what grade did you think that was when you sent it in?
So I graded it like it's really
Because your
hard
grades
to
are
grade sometimes
your
when
videos like you're pretty close.
yeah.
Like
So
you're a very good consistent grader.
so on top tier books, when you send to CGC, you get their
Yeah.
top graders. So we are pretty accurate with the top graders. But when you send in the lower end stuff, a couple $100 books or modern books, you're getting their low end graders, and so it can be all over the place, right? I can grade something like, what was it? We got a book in, and it was we both graded it. Me and my brother graded it like a 9.4. It comes back a 9.8. I'm like, "Hey, that's great. That's great for us." But I'm
Got
like,
about
"There's no way this
seven
is
spine
9.8.
ticks
I'm
on
sorry."
it on
But
the, you know.
yeah, exactly. So the lower end stuff, yeah, you're gonna lower end value. You're gonna get their lower end graders, and they can be very inconsistent. But we're pretty with the top end graders. I mean, if I were to walk into CGC, I'd probably be like a
Yeah.
top end grader. But yeah, so with that book, it's really hard because it's hard to step out of
Yeah,
wishful
yeah.
thinking. It's definitely very hard. So it's one thing, it's like a book that I've seen 1,000 times and I know what it's worth, but it's like was our biggest book we've ever gotten by a mile. Not like, oh yeah, we got a book that's like, a couple 100,000 and then like the previous book that we ever sold, our biggest one was 70,000. So
It did,
this
yeah.
was
Yeah, yeah. It's like
massively, massively
four
more.
times the
So
amount,
as
yeah.
we're looking at this book, yeah, as we were looking at this book, I was like, it's hard to like not like, oh man, what if this grades a 9.2? What if it grades a 9.4? What if it grades a 9.0? Like it's hard to like get
Yeah.
out of that. So like I was trying to like, I think I overcompensated by like trying to like prepare
Well,
myself if it came back an 8.5. And so I was like, I think it's
yeah.
an 8.5 because if I say 8.5
Conservatively,
and
yeah.
it comes back
Yeah.
at 8.5, yeah, I was being very conservative. My brother graded 8.5 to 9.0. And so it came
Did
back
you
a
get your
9.0.
dad to look at it? Pro?
My dad only looked at it
Oh,
through
okay.
pictures. So,
Wow.
but yeah,
Wow. I'll bet you were over the moon when you saw the grade.
yes, I was
Yeah.
very, very happy. Very, very happy. So and then I was, more happy when we sold it or
Yeah, yeah, of course,
selling
yeah.
it.
Man,
So just so it's
hopefully
yeah,
it goes for a record or, you know, like a really good really I really wish you well with that, honestly. Because to be able
yeah.
to reinvest that into your business and your website, that'll be
Yeah, that's like the whole goal is,
that's what I
do more
that's
marketing,
what I
stuff
like
like that.
about it. Like it's not like, you know, oh, I've got to, you know, fill my back pockets. It's to better your business. That's why I really like your business model.
Yeah, this is my best investment advice. The best investment that you can make is in
Wow.
yourself. Whether that is through a business that you're making, whether that's going to a school to get a certain job, whether that's fixing your health mentally, physically, um, fixing maybe personal aspects you don't like in your life, whatever it is. That's the best investment you could possibly make.
That is phenomenal advice. So thank you for that. Derek has said there's no better investment than a Superman 75. That's the death of Superman.
Yeah. So I saw this clip, and I wish I would have saved it because I would use it all the time, and I can't find it for the life of me anymore. But it's this clip. Was that 93?
Yeah, 1993, yeah.
I think 90. Yeah. So 93. It's, you know, whatever, a reporter standing outside a comic shop.
Death of Superman.
And there's a bunch of people in the comic shop grabbing gobs of this Superman 75. I remember Superman 75 vividly because I was going to the comic shop then. And this news reporter interviews this lady coming out. And he's like, well, so it's the death of Superman, blah, 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 blah. What do you got there? And then it was like, oh, I got Superman 75. This is the death of Superman. This is gonna be so expensive. This is gonna pay for my kids' college fund, like tuition in the future. And I just laugh at that because it's just like, it's just so funny. Because in hindsight, you know, I know exactly why that comic book is never going to be worth that much.
But to be fair, it is actually like a beloved storyline, like from the 90s.
Oh yeah, I had it on tape, and I would listen to it like all the time.
It's so bizarre because it is like a great story, and it's like, but it's just massively overprinted.
Yeah, and that's a problem. Is I always tried to help people supply and demand. So new comic books, unfortunately, will never be worth like an old comic book, because when you have, let's say, a new Spider-Man that comes out, you know, hits the shelves next month, that print run is going to be 100,000. You know, and I'm not talking about number one, all these number ones they come out with, you know, just your average, whatever issue they're on, number 70 something, 80 something. It's going to have a print run of 100,000. Of that 100,000, comic book shops are probably going to take, many comic shops will take stacks of 5 to 10, send it to CGC. Guaranteed all those are coming back a 9.8, maybe a 9.6 in there. You know? So now you can almost bet that 10 years, 20 years, 30 years from now, of that 100,000, 95% of them will still exist. And 90 to 80% will be
because
9.8s.
they've all, you know, when you practically buy off a shelf now, they're in a bag and board anyway. Whereas in, you know, back in the 60s when these, you know, comics were becoming really popular, like the 50s, they weren't bagged and board. They were just kept
rolled up, put in, thrown somewhere. Yeah. And old Golden Age is always going to be very expensive, because an old Golden Age comic book had to survive so much stuff that people do not realize how much they had to survive. So first you have the comic book, and back then people read them, threw them away, tore them up. Okay. That's issue number one you have to deal with. Issue number two, they had paper drives and metal drives where people would donate the paper and the metal. So you take out the staples, take out the paper
for the war
effort. Yep. Then you had comic book burnings. In the 50s, there's this huge push how comic books are bad for the youth, and people burn them. So all your comic books got burned. Then you had to survive just normal, you know, everyday wear and tear.
Yeah. So there's a massive difference. Derek has asked, Dave, as you've worked with Heritage, Comic Link, My Comic Shop, etc., as a seller, what lessons have you and Thomas learned that you apply to your marketplace to help sellers?
So, places like Comic Link is just really outdated. Comic Connect updated their thing not too long ago, but I don't know if you've ever listed a comic on Comic Link to sell in their marketplace. If you haven't, I have never felt so dumb in my life. It is so hard to navigate and so hard to do anything. It is so just not intuitive. It's awful. It's just awful. And the thing is, they won't go back and change it. They won't fix anything because they're already making money, and they're under the rule of if it's not broken, don't fix it. And which is a terrible rule. And that it applies to all of these that you've listed. They are under their rule of like, if it's not broken, don't fix it. And technically it's not, but they can make it vastly, vastly better. You know, Heritage is probably the best, but they also cost the most. But one thing about Heritage is they have too many tabs and buttons to click and too many like things to go through. I'm like, you need to trim this down, trim it down. It's like just define things. It's like this is too much. So, but they have a lot going on. Yeah, that what I would say is like we look at that and we go like, how can we make it simpler, more intuitive, and easier for the consumer?
Yeah, I like mycomicshop.com. I think that's a great website. Shauna Rain has said that I keep my comics raw and have a few stabs, but I watch this channel to keep price on big books and what's hot or has value, in which comic books it becomes a stock market at times overnight. Look at D. I don't know if that hasn't translated. Might be an emoji that we can't see. Appreciate you, Shauna, for watching Dave's channel. So yeah, now we're getting on. Are you okay for time? You sure?
Yeah, yeah, a little bit longer is fine.
We're getting on to my favorite part now, which is what is Love Angeles. So,
Love Angeles is my band that I do. I've been a musician since I've been doing music.
You've always been a musician.
25 years. I've been doing music for like 25 years. But my in and out of bands. It's I try to explain it as like the people that like will watch my channel, they're probably really into comic books. Like that's their passion, and that's what they choose to do on their free time. They go to work, they come home, they want to watch me or someone else and talk about comics. They go to the comic shop, they buy comics to play. That's how I feel about music. I love music. I love writing. I love creating. So I've been in and out of bands pretty much my whole life. And Love Angeles is like my band, and I've made 4 albums, I think.
Your latest one, was it AI Killed the Rock Star?
The Rock Star. Yeah, AI Killed the Rock Star. Yeah, I have that one came out like 2 months or so ago.
Yeah, I think was it about like December, November, or January? Was it?
Yeah, probably like December or something like that. I always start. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna release this by like summer, and it's just like this takes way longer. Most of the music and everything I write and play myself. Sometimes I have other people do stuff. You know, depend. Each song's different. And I sing. But yeah, I love music. So that's basically what Love Angeles is about. Love Angeles was a name that I was in a band with some people, and we didn't have a band name yet. And I wrote a song, like just like the music and everything like that. And that was the first song that I ever wrote that someone said like, oh, this is good. And so I wasn't the singer at the time in this band. And so I wrote the song, and then the singer sang over the song. And then the drummer was like, the singer called it Love Angeles. He named it that song. And the drummer's like, oh, I like that name. Then we called our band that. And I just kept that band going. Eventually that singer and drummer left, and I replaced them. And then I became the singer, and then I just kind of kept it going. But it was basically the first time that someone said, hey, what you wrote is good.
Yeah. I mean, so full disclosure. So I obviously I know you from the comic book world, and I think I very loosely knew that you might be in like a band or something. You might have mentioned something in a video or something like that. And I was on Instagram. I'd already asked you if you wanted to come on and do an interview, and you said contact me later on in the year. And I just randomly on Instagram, and like his sponsored post came up, and it was his song, and I was like, oh, this is a really good song. And it was Be Someone. And I was like, this is a really like catchy, like this is like my type of music, because I grew up, you know, I loved Blink-182. I'm a massive like punk rock.
Yeah.
So it's like Bowling for Soup, Sum 41, The Offspring. That was like my era of music. and I was like, hey, I really like this, and I was like, and then when I clicked on it, I was like, holy shit, this is Dave's band from Comic Book Investments. And then like I love to listen to work when like I drive to work or when I'm working, like when I'm doing a lot of like reports and stuff. And like Matt, I've been hooked to it. I'm not joking. Like
Yeah.
I don't
Thank you.
think this is I'm not blowing smoke. Like I don't think I've heard a terrible song like where I've gone, I'm skipping this. So like there's a
Thank you.
few that I really like. So I like Be Someone because that was like the first one that I heard. 1999, punk rock.
That was
Yeah,
a fun one,
I
dude.
like that one just because it's nostalgic and it's like it talks about like
Yeah.
there's so many. Like my daughter was listening to it and she's been watching Friends, and you know like some of the references in it. She's like, "Oh, why is that a reference?" I was like, "Because that's a song like from like the 90s."
Yeah.
And then like Punk Rock Kid, I really like that one. And then Summer, is it Summer Loving or Summer Love or something like that? Yep,
Summer
I
Love.
really
Yeah.
like that one as well. But there's so I could name a few to be fair, but those are pretty much my favourites that I always go back to and I like really like listening to those ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Every song I go into, and I try to do something different that maybe I've never done before. It might be something simple like, oh, I'm gonna use this instrument that I've never used before, or try to do
Yeah,
something different. I just like to do that kind of stuff. So, I've everything. I write everything in kind of like a pop
yeah.
rock style, but there's very, throughout the albums, throughout the different songs, there's
Have you
very
ever heard
different.
of a UK band called Busted? that
Yes,
it, like
I,
that
I love
I love
Busted.
Busted.
They also made another band called Son of Dork.
Okay, it's,
Yeah, one of the singers went and he made Son of Dork. I like that one too. But yeah, I
yeah,
know Busted.
it like
Mhm.
that style of music is like 100% my go-to. Like, because that I love music that can.
They got back together
Yeah, they have.
recently.
Yeah, I think there's another UK band called like McFly. Have you heard of them? Yeah, so they
McFly,
like do
yep.
like
And they
McBusted.
they merged
Yeah,
together and they had like
yeah, it's pretty.
yeah.
Yeah, but like, so have you like what was your inspiration? What was the music that you grew up listening to? Was it like Blink 182 or?
So this is the way I put it is so Blink 182 was like my mother, and then the Goo Goo Dolls was like
Okay.
my father. So Blink 182 birthed me, but Goo Goo Dolls showed me how to
Oh,
write
so
songs.
you like do you like Iris? Is it like that song? Yeah.
Yeah. So I love the Goo Goo Dolls, and Blink 182. I've seen the Goo Goo Dolls probably like 9 or 10 times in concert. I've seen Blink 182 probably close to
Okay.
the same. But yeah, I love those are my two like favorite bands that like the most
So
inspirational.
when did you realize that you had like a voice, like you could sing? Did
I don't know. I basically when I first heard Blink 182 for the first time, like my world changed. Um, Ozzy Osbourne said this about the Beatles, and it's the best way to describe it. He said, "The first time it was like I was living in black and white, and then the first time I heard the Beatles, it was like I started
yeah,
living in color." And that's the best way I could describe when I first heard Blink-182. And instantly, it's almost like I gained music taste. Like before, I just listened to what my friends listened to, what was on the radio, and I liked music, but and then from there, I was like, I want to do what they do. I want to be in a
yeah,
band. And then I heard the Goo Goo Dolls, and I'm like, I want to write songs. And so since then, I've been, writing songs and
yeah.
doing
Because
that.
it's like for me, like music, like it invokes like emotions. Like if you can associate with
Hmm.
something, and like the all the best movies, they've got powerful or like really good scores, like attached. Like
A music can make or break
yeah,
a scene, and it can enhance anything you do. If you're going to a party, it can enhance it. If you're heartbroken, it can enhance it. Happy, sad, mad, whatever it is, it's an enhancer. And also, music is a time machine. I literally wrote a song on this latest album called Time Machine, and it's about how you listen to a certain song, it will bring you back exactly to a certain moment in life
yeah,
when you were listening to that song. Whether you're with a girl, whether you're, feeling sad, whatever it is, it's like traveling back in time.
Yeah,
Literally,
yeah.
that's like
It
the song.
takes you back.
But
It takes you back to that place.
and so that's what music can do, and music is like so powerful. It's to me, I'm biased, obviously. I think it's like one of the most powerful
Yeah,
forces there is because even if you're watching like a movie, when you remember watching a movie, you remember sitting and watching the
yeah.
movie. You know, it's like you might remember, oh yeah, I was with some friends or something like that. But like music, you can be doing other things. And like I said, it's an enhancer. You could be at a bar and this certain song comes on when you met this certain person or whatever like that. And it's like, oh, that reminds you of that. Or it's like, you know, our first dance at my wedding was to a Goo Goo Doll song. So whenever I hear that Goo Goo song, I remember
Yeah,
my
yeah.
wedding, you know, and that particular part. So yeah, I don't know. Music is so powerful, and I just love it. It makes you like feel stuff, and
No,
yeah.
it's incredible. And did you? I mean, I don't know how because you've obviously got music on like Spotify and you've got it on Apple Music. Um, did you know
It's
on
on
YouTube?
YouTube
Yeah.
too.
Did you notice like an influx of like listen? I don't know what you would call it, views or listens on Apple Music because that was me.
Oh,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
So
I
to
haven't
say
checked.
that
Checked
would
in.
literally be me because literally I was playing it every day, like on the car journey home and at work and stuff. So
Yeah, I'll have to look. I don't look at my numbers as much as I look at my YouTube numbers, probably because like I upload it and now it's like been
yeah,
months,
yeah.
and you know, compared to like YouTube, I'm always uploading a video, so I'm always like, oh, how did it do? And let me look at my other numbers. So yeah, I'll look at it.
But
But yeah,
like I said, you can find obviously Dave's band on Spotify. I'll put the link in the the description of this video if you want to go and listen to it. I do highly recommend it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So have
thank
you?
you.
Is there like have you played like any big venues or anything like that, or supported anybody? Is there anything any
Um,
interesting?
um, in this band, um, I mean, I played some like
Yeah.
decent sized stuff. The biggest show I ever played though was in another band I was in. I opened for Eve Six and Everclear. I don't know if you remember those bands, but that was there's like 1,000
Okay.
people there or close to it, and I was on a big like
Oh wow.
jumbotron. That was kind of fun. I was definitely
Oh
super
yeah.
nervous, but I was as the backup singer and bass
Okay.
player
So
in that
so
band.
when did you transition? Are you acoustic guitar are you, or guitar?
Yeah, acoustic and electric. I've always played acoustic and electric, and I've written songs.
Do you prefer acoustic?
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's just easier. Yeah. Um, I play electric in some songs, and I'll play it live on certain songs, but yeah, I would say like half and
Okay,
half.
cool. Um, no, definitely go and check out Dave's music. David's music is absolutely amazing. You've got a really nice comment here from Maurice, who said that Dave and Thomas do a great job with their site. That's really nice of them. So,
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I know Maurice. We talk frequently.
Shauna has put all those old comics are in people's vault. MJ Comics and the last few years collecting in the USA has been going up because natural disaster from coast to coast lately. So comic books sale themselves, especially the big books. Cool. Yeah, so we're winding down now, David. But the next question I've got is there any other YouTube channels that you watch? Doesn't have to be comic related, but is there any ones that you regularly, you get that notification bell come in to say they've released a new video that you like to watch?
I'll watch the
Yeah.
Corridor Crew, and
It's quite interesting because you don't. I'm just assuming here you don't have like any you don't have anything in like VFX or anything like that, do you? Or
no, I generally like watching stuff that I'm not really
yeah, yeah,
in,
yeah,
like because I find it more interesting. So I really don't watch too much comic book stuff, because like think of it from my point of view. I wake up, I do comic books
yeah.
as my job. Then on top of that, then I
YouTube.
do YouTube after work. Then I go home and I'm either researching or writing scripts for a YouTube. So kind of almost like the last thing I want to do
Is
is
watch stuff about comic
like
books. Yeah,
Yeah, I watch more stuff that I already know,
Yeah.
you know. So generally stuff I like watching things that I don't know anything about, and so I'll watch that. Um, like, and I have like different people I watch for like
Yeah.
politics, just to keep up on what's going on in the world, or like tech stuff. Like I watch MKBHD for like tech reviews and kind of keep up what's
Cool.
going on with that. Um, um, yeah, I mean, usually it's just like I'll search for something like right now I'm trying to learn how to grade cards. So I've been watching a lot of stuff on
Yeah.
card grading. So
What is that something that you like potentially collectors comics might start doing, selling cards, or
yeah, eventually. But I just want to kind of like learn for my own sake. Like, okay, it's very different than
yeah,
comics.
what
Very different. Like I can look at a comic and instantly grade it like that, you know. But
like
like
the
cards, I'm like,
centering and
okay, now I
all
have to
this
get out my
stuff?
loop. And I have to like zoom in. Like,
There's
what is this? Oh, what is it? A tiny fleck there of like either paint or something like the ink. Which is so weird for me, cards versus comics is if you have a manufacturing issue, it doesn't affect the
yeah.
grade of the comic. But
Oh
on
yeah,
cards, oh
yeah,
heaven
yeah.
forbid.
Um,
So
but there's a card grading company, isn't there? Called, is it Tag? Where it's like it does it by AI.
oh, I did hear about
Yeah.
that one. I don't remember what
I
it's
think I
called,
think
but
it's
yeah,
I
I've
think
heard of that.
well I think that's what it's called. But again, do you think that's the future of? Obviously, you can't do that with comic books because you've got to flick through the thing and But
So I'll give you some
okay,
insight into a video I'm working on. So I did a video maybe like 6 months ago about how the comic industry is like doomed because of
yeah,
AI, and I did a whole thing on it. Um, I've been wanting to do this video for the longest time. Uh, my boldest predictions,
okay.
and it's going to be all these predictions, which I think will be 100% right.
You want to be
You
able to
know,
say, "I
and
told you
but
so." That way.
yeah, exactly. That's why I want to have the video so I can see, I told you so. I told you so. I told you so. That's basically why. But it's going to be all the stuff that I research and I'm into that's kind of outside of comics. I'll talk about comics in the video, but it's basically how I'm only going to talk about stuff that I know about. I'm not going to talk about things in industries that I really am not familiar with. So stuff that I
Yeah,
follow. I follow a lot of AI and robotics. Like that's stuff I watch a lot of stuff. Like a lot of AI and robotics. And so I can see different industries literally going to collapse on, like, if you want to talk music, because I know music and I know AI and I know exactly what's going to happen. Um, Pretty soon, no human will really be writing music
yeah,
anymore. It's all going to be driven by AI. The reason why is because Spotify gives out 70% of its money to
yeah,
artists like me. So if I was a business like Spotify, which they are doing currently, the best way to boost your revenue or your profits is to get rid of the artist. But you can't get rid of the artist because they're the people that make
yeah,
a platform happen. So what you're going to do is you're just going to have AI write a bunch of songs, because realistically, most people just go on to Discover Weekly, they hear a song, this is a cool band,
yeah.
I'm going to save that. No intention of ever watching that band live, no intention to really follow up beyond that other than listening to their music. So why not have AI create all these bands, and then
And they
they make
keep
all the
doing it.
music, you listen to it so you're happy, and they keep the
Yeah,
70% that they're giving out to artists. And they're already doing that now. They're doing that now with jazz and
yeah,
instrumentals. So it's not that long. Within 5 years, you're going to have a number one song or a number 10 songs on some chart that's going to be written and performed
yeah.
by
Because
AI.
there's I mean, I've been playing about with it. Is it Suno? Is it that you can write your
Yep.
own songs? I've trying to come up with a
Mhm.
song for like the channel, like as in like background, like an intro thing, and that's like that's dangerously like pretty good. Sounds pretty good, like legit.
Yeah, and that's now. That's like now. That's I keep telling you, like, this is now. Like, what's going to happen in the way that AI is progressing? Like, I don't know if you're familiar with
Yeah,
Midjourney. Okay, so they make
yeah,
the AI art stuff. If you look at where it was like 2 years ago, it's like,
yeah.
like
Now
like
it now
terrible.
it's
But it's like
frightening.
now it's like, whoa. So what's going to happen in another 2 years? And everything's exponential. And and the thing with AI is it's lowering the bar for everything. So it's not like you have like one company or two companies that make like this thing. It's like there's all like every single day there's like a new chat GPT that's like coming out from some random country or some random people. It's like better than the previous one, and we did it for less and all that. It's just crazy. And so I'm gonna make a bunch of bold predictions about different industries that I know about and how they're pretty much gonna just get destroyed.
Well, it definitely is going to make some people lose their jobs, because there are some jobs out there that could easily just be done by AI. But like it's like you say, like with music, like with instruments and stuff like that, is there going to be some point in the future when people aren't even going to bother learning instruments because it can be easily done by AI?
It depends why you do it. So someone like me, I love music. I don't make any money from music, but I still play and I love it. It's like it's therapeutic. The person that's just trying to get rich or make money or make fame or whatever they're trying to do, they're not going to do it. They're going to forego it and then move over to using AI to do the stuff for them. But the people that generally love doing it just because they love, they're still going to do it. I don't know. Like, I'm not a AI doomist either. I think it's fantastic, and I think it's so exciting times to live in. Like, if you could live during time, this is like the best time to live, of how exciting and interesting it is. And a lot of people, you know, they're like, David, how can you like? I think I was talking about AI in another video. It's like, why are you smiling when you talk about how like these industries are going to get destroyed? And I'm like, because it's so fascinating. It's so interesting to me. Like, yeah, there's going to be a lot of bad stuff that happens, but to me, it's like, it's just so interesting. It's like, try to take yourself out and you're reading this interesting story and you're like, oh, I bet it's going to lead here. This is probably where it's going to go. And as you're reading the story and it's just, you know, unfolding.
That's good. So literally my last question to you now, David. Thank you everybody who's stuck with us to watch this 2 hours and 13 minutes so far. Again, congratulations on hitting 20,000 subs. What is next for the channel?
Thank you.
What is the next for comic book investments?
Basically, you know, I would love to find a series like that Pawn Stars type of thing and really just, you know, do more of those. I really enjoyed that aspect of it. You know, it gets a little, I guess, tiresome of sitting in front of a camera and, you know, just spouting out some stuff. So, you know, stuff like that. It's just really hard because you have to justify every video that you do. And, you know, you don't want to put in all this time and effort. Oh, it sucks. Let me just keep on doing that over and over and it gets no views, you know, and sucks is the wrong word because it's just the way the algorithm works. So yeah, I just, you know, I'd love to do more. I would love to do podcasts with people in the industry. I would love to do that. It's just, the hardest part is getting people. Like, that's why it's always just me. It's like I would love to interact with artists and writers. And I did this one podcast with this guy. He hit me up on Instagram and he just asked me, his name is Todd, and he says like, hey, how much would it cost if you promoted this movie that I'm working on? Or it was an animated short. And I was like, you know, I asked him a few questions. I was like, where do you live? And he's like, oh, I'm in Los Angeles or whatever. And I was like, I'll do you one better. I was like, you don't have to pay me anything. But I would love to have you come on the podcast and we can talk all about it. And he's like, sure. And so he came down. His video he made was Force 5 and super chill guy, super awesome. And it's just fun meeting these people because like we talked about like sports, just talked about random stuff. We talked for like an hour before we did the podcast. And I told him, I was like, okay, we can't talk anymore because we're going to waste all our time. And just talking, I was so fascinated because here's this guy. It's similar to me with music. He was very passionate about his animation. And he told me all the inner workings of how like he brought this to like Netflix and all this kind of stuff. And then they didn't want to invest in it. And like, because he just brought like a concept and he's like, well, if I'm ever going to get this made, I'm gonna have to do it myself. So then he pooled some money together and basically funded it himself. and he got these team of artists. He did the storyboards, got these directors that like this, put this whole passion project together, and made this short. And now he's taking this short and he's trying to make it into a series. So he's going to different like film festivals and trying to meet and greet with people to get someone to like, oh, I loved your short, let me turn it into a full length series of different episodes. And so it was just very fascinating talking. And so I'd love to do more of that.
Interacting with different creators across different industries then.
Yeah, different industries, but still like somewhat in the same industry. But yeah, definitely since I'm a comic book channel, it'd be nice to like talk to people, about comic books and comic book art, and just, learning about that more, and each person, experience.
Have you ever
with it.
thought about doing any collaborations with like, Comic Tom, Gem Mint, Swaggle House?
I did a collaboration with Comic Tom. I've done interviews and stuff like that, but I did a couple video series with Comic Tom. I mean that's fine. But that just adds like another like thing I have to do, and I hate like agreeing to something and then like backing out because I can't do it. So it's like when I agree to something, I just say, okay, I'm gonna do it. So I try to like agree to less things because I'm just, I just like, I don't want to, I would never like back out of something or anything like that. So it's like I always like try to like not agree to too much stuff. Because I don't want to end up not being able to do it.
That's fantastic. I genuinely, you are, one of the really big channels out there for comic book content that people rely on. You're entertaining, you're informative.
Thank you.
You're a very a decent guy. I think you're a genuinely nice guy. I wish you all the best with Collectors Comics. I wish you all the best with the future content. I hope you can carry on in that style format with the porn stars. I appreciate you coming on, David, and everybody who stuck with us in the chat. Thank you so much for watching. Brian, thank you so much for popping in. I know like the time zone difference, and just like you just said then, if you commit to something, you'll do it. So I appreciate you coming onto my small channel, just to my British channel, just to talk about.
Yeah, it's like 1 a.m. for you.
But do you know what? I've really enjoyed this.
Is tomorrow Saturday?
No, it's Friday. It's Friday. It's 1 a.m. on Friday at the moment. So,
okay.
That's okay.
I try to explain to people, I'm like, these things go long. I had one person, he wanted an interview, and he's like, it'll be quick. It'll be like 30 minutes. I'm like, that never happens. Never happens.
I find like 2 hours, like 2 hours and a half. Like it's probably like but I mean, I've had some that's gone like 3.5. Like, but yeah, no, I really appreciate you taking the time out to talk to me. If you haven't already, please go and check out David's channel. Check out his music; it's fantastic as well. And obviously check out Collectors Comics. It's a fantastic website, auction house. But yeah, thank you everybody for watching. David, you've been a fantastic guest. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Bye bye everybody. See you later.